I can take the queries. So from the 4th, 5th and the first unit. So as I am already done with the 4th, 5th and the first unit, just I am going to start the second unit from today onwards. Fine. Yeah, let me share the desktop. Hope you are able to see my screen. Can anyone confirm?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is there on my screen? Which topic?
Input and output interface.
Yeah, input and output interface. So in this chapter, in the second chapter, so primarily we will focus on the various types of the interfacing devices and the units. So what is the need of an interface and what are the input output devices? And when we are talking about the input output device, what type of the data the input device and output device is going to send? So the data may be in the different forms. So what type of data an input device is sending and how it is understanding the system or the processor, in what way it is understanding the data, and what type of data the system is giving back to us. So whether we need to do any conversion in between input output or whether the processor will understand it directly. So that is the main concept behind the interface. So it is an device and it is a circuit which is used for doing some sort of the conversion. And the first half of the chapter, I'll discuss about the interface and what are the various types of interfaces are there. So especially memory and the I/O interfacing, and followed by isolated and the memory mapped and the I/O interfacing, and what type of the circuitry or the chips are available in the market to support the concept of an interfacing, how the system will understand this interfacing concept when we are making use of that ICs or the circuits. Okay, and followed by I'll discuss about the direct memory access. What are the advantages of the direct memory access and why we will make use of the DMA. Okay, and are there any processors are available readily? If you want to make use of the input and output devices, somewhat you can extend them to the next level. Are there any processors are available? For example, like 8085 and 8086 microprocessor, in the similar way, do we are having any processors? So that input output processor I will discuss. And the last one, there is a comparison between all these isolated memory and the IO interfaces. So there will end the chapter. So these are the various things that I will come across the in the second unit. So the first of all, what is an input output device? So might be you are having knowledge about the various types of input device and output devices. So what is peripheral? What is peripheral device? Tell me where we will use this word called peripheral device. Where we are using this peripheral? Input and output devices. When we are talking about the input and output device, basically we'll make use of the word called peripheral, right? So which are used for giving the data to the system and which are ready to take the data from the system after processing the data that will be processed by the microprocessor. So we can give the input and we can get the data from the processor. So in that context, we'll make use of the term called peripheral, right? So input output interface is used as a method, so which helps us in transferring information from internal storage devices to an external storage devices. For example, if you are taking internal storage device like a hard disk or the memory registers, okay, so there we are going to store the data. So internal storage, and the external peripheral devices are like which we need to carry. So like USB or the external hard disk and any kind of the medium which we are going to use in day-to-day life for carrying the data. So those are the external devices, and internal devices which are on board. So the microprocessor will transfer the data to those devices, whether it may be a memory location or a register. So those are internal storage devices, and external So just remember, memory location and the register both will serve as an internal storage device. So even register also will be called as an internal storage device. Okay, and external storage device, we are having many things. We can connect externally to the computer. So various kind of the device like output devices, either speaker, monitor, printer, all such kind of the device you can even connect to the system. So if you are talking about the microcomputer based system, so the only purpose of the peripheral device is just to provide serial communication links for the interfacing with the CPU. So in case of the microcomputer system, so which is not a general purpose system, so here we are having some limited amount of the functionality it will have. So in such cases, the major responsibility of the processor is to provide the special communication links for the interfacing devices along with the CPU. And here, to resolve the differences between peripheral device and the CPU, there is a special need for communication links. So the communication will play a key role when you are transferring the data from one place to another place. Okay, so for example, if you are talking about the keyboard will be implemented in one technology and it will understand one type of the signals, and the microprocessor will be implemented in with the help of one technology, and it will understand the data in different signals. For example, if you are talking about the microprocessor, it will understand the electronic signals, whereas in case of the keyboard, if you are talking about the keyboard, it will understand the electromagnetic signals. So there is a lot of difference between electronic signals and the electromagnetic signals. So here, the device which we are implementing will always understand the electromagnetic signals. Electromechanical also, I can say electromechanical signals it will understand, and the device which you are sending the data and processing the data will understand the electronic signals. For example, if it is a processor, it will understand electronic signals, and electromechanical or electromagnetical, that signals will be understandable by the keyboard, mouse. Why? Because it is a combination of both electronics as well as the mechanical components. So that's the reason it will understand the electromagnetic or electromechanical signals. Okay, so if you are talking about the keyboard, mouse, mechanical stuff will be there. Along with that, electronic signals also it will understand. So that's the reason. So, but if you are sending the data directly to the processor will get confused with the signals, what type of signals the user is sending. So for that reason, we are going with an extra circuit. That circuit we are calling it as an interface. So it acts as an intermediate between the processor and the input output devices, whatever we are using for sending the data and receiving the data. So that is a major usage of the interface. Interface is a circuit which is placed in between the input output device as well as the CPU. So there is a lot of difference between the electronic signals and the electromechanical signals. So that's the reason there is a difference between peripheral device and the CPU. Okay, so there is a special need of communication. If the CPU wants to understand this communication, then there is a separate circuit is required. That circuit we are calling it as an interface. Hope you understood. So what is exactly happening in real-time scenario? Suppose if you are talking about the sensor, if you take one sensor and which is installed in a real-time environment, and here we are having an input conditioning unit or the system. The sensor will give data to input unit, and the data which you are giving is in the form of analog signal, but the system will understand the digital signal. So if you are directly giving analog signal to the system will not understand what type of data the user is giving. So there is definitely conversion is required. So you need to convert an analog signal to digital signal, then only the system will understand the data, the type of data which we are giving to the system. So this process, technically we can call it as encoding. So encoding is a process of converting one type of signal into another type of the signal. So if you are calling in like internet terminology, we can call it as a modulation. So modulation and the demodulation will be there. So modulation means like analog signal we are converting into the digital signal, and vice versa, digital signal will be converted to the analog signal. So the process we are calling it as a modulation and the demodulation, and the device which is doing this kind of the process is called as a modem. So modems we will use. So nowadays we are getting the routers as well, but the modem is a device which is responsible for converting, modulating and demodulating the signal. So converting analog to digital and digital to analog signal conversion. So in real-time environment, sensor is taking the data. So the data is in analog nature, and the analog data will not be understandable by the system. Why? Because system will understand only the digital signals. So there is a definite requirement for an interface unit, so which is responsible for converting analog signal into the digital signal. So it will be processed by the processor. Okay, so the device which we are using in this process is called as an input interface unit. And in the same way, output interface unit. So the system, we are giving the data in the form of digital signal. So your output interface unit will take the data in the form of digital signal, and because it is giving data out to the user, so the data should be in an analog nature. The data should be in analog nature. So the output unit will give output as the analog signal. So the output conditioning unit will understand the data. So there is a lot of story behind the input and the output interfaces. The input interface will take data as input as analog signal, and the input interface unit will give digital signal as the output. But whereas in case of the output interface unit, digital signal will be taken as an input, and it will give output as an analog signal. So this is a brief explanation about the input interface unit and the output interface unit, how they are working exactly in the real-time environment. So these are the two things that we are following. So input interface unit will take analog signal, and it will give digital signal as output. That will be understandable by the system. And the system is giving digital signal to the output interface unit as the input, and it is generating the analog signal as the output, and that will be understandable by the real-time environment. For example, I would like to identify the temperature and the humidity in your room. So I would like to know how much temperature and the humidity is there in a particular room condition. So the temperature and the humidity is an analog nature, and the system will not understand this analog data directly, and system will display the data in the form of numbers. For example, 30 degrees, okay, and or else 96.7 Fahrenheit, like that it will display. That is the digital data. And if this digital data, if you are directly giving it to the sensor, that sensor will not understand. Why? Because sensor will understand the electromagnetic or electromechanical things. So that's the reason we should give only analog data to the sensor. So this is a conversion process. In this conversion process, mainly we are talking about the interfaces. We are talking about the interfaces. Are you following? Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is the main idea behind, the main story behind the interface. And the next, when we are talking about the interfaces, where we can use, so where we can use various kind of the interfaces. So like we can see, so before going to discuss about them, and I'll show you one more. Are you able to see this? Input output organization. So peripheral device and input output interface, asynchronous data transfer, and the modes of transfer, priority interrupt, and the direct memory access, and input output processor and serial communication. These are the main contents that we are going to come across in input output organization and in the second unit. So here, let's talk about the peripheral devices. What are the peripheral devices? The peripheral devices are the input devices and output devices. For example, keyboard is an input device. Optical input device, for example, card reader, paper tape reader, or barcode reader, or a digitizer, or optical mark reader. These all things will be considered as the optical input devices. And along with this, we are having magnetic input device also. So the magnetic input device are magnetic strip reader. So it is, for example, the hard disk, and there we can make use of the magnetic stripe reader. And screen input device, for example, touch screen, light pen, or the mouse. Those are also will be considered as the input devices. And analog input device like sensors. And on the other hand, we are having output device like card puncher, or the paper tape puncher, or the CRT monitors, are the printer, for example, inkjet or the laser, dot matrix. So those are the some of the printers. We will act as an output devices, and plotters, analog signals, and the voice. So these all things will be called as an output devices. So there is a question, 2 marks question. So what are the peripheral devices? Give examples for them. So at that time we need to answer input and output devices. Examples for the input devices are keyboard, and this list goes on. And the output device also like a speaker or the monitor, and the list goes on. And the printer. So these are the input and output devices, and they are implemented in different ways. Then what we need to understand from here, input output interfaces. So it provides a method for transferring information between internal storage and the external IO devices. If you are talking about the interface, so which is responsible for data transmission between the internal storage and the external IO devices, so such as the memory or the CPU registers. And there is a difference between the computer and the peripheral devices. Lot of difference. Not there is a difference. There is a lot of difference between the computer and the peripheral devices. For example, if you are talking about the peripherals, all the peripherals will be implemented in electromechanical devices. Combination of electronic and mechanical. So CPU, on the other hand, CPU will understand electronic device. Digital processing device. We can call CPU as a, our computer is a digital processing device. So the data transfer rate also usually slow in case of the peripherals comparatively CPU. Why? Because CPU will be operated with higher clock speeds. Okay, so 2.2 gigahertz or the 2.2 like 2.2 gigahertz or 3.2 gigahertz, 3 gigahertz, like that. With operating speed we will go with the CPU. But whereas in case of the peripherals, the data transfer rate is very low, so it is very less. So in the, especially in the case of the keyboard, mouse, and the devices which we are using, printer, and each and everything will have the lesser speed compared to the CPU. Okay, so some kind of the synchronization mechanism may be needed. So in order to provide the clock synchronization, that means if you want to match the speed of the peripheral device and the CPU, if you want to match the speed, there is a synchronization is required. For example, I am giving 5 bytes data to you, but you are taking only 2 bytes. So there is a trade-off, 3 bytes. So how can I match? Either I can ask you to reduce your speed, and either I can ask you to send only 2 bytes. So in that case, we can provide the synchronization between the devices. So if I am sending 2 bytes, instantly you will access 2 bytes. And again, I should send 2 bytes and you can accept the 2 bytes. So this is a sync. So there is a sync between the data transmission and the reception. So it is the responsibility of the processor to provide the synchronization between the input output device and the processor speed. Then only it can perform the operation accurately. So the data transfer rate will play a key role in case of the peripheral and the CPU or the memory. So in peripherals, it is having very lesser speed comparatively the CPU or the memory. And next one, the unit of information, in what format we are going to send the data. Suppose if you are talking about the peripherals, either keyboard or the mouse or the monitor or the printer or the plotter or speaker, so the information which we are sending in the form of the bytes, kbps, mbps. So like that we will tell when we are measuring the data transmission rate. So the peripherals will make use of the byte as a unit, and CPU will make use of the word. So word. So if you are combining all the word bytes together, then we are calling it as an word. Okay. Are you getting my point? Yeah, so unit of the information. So peripherals will transfer the data in the form of bytes, and the CPU or the memory will understand the data in the form of the words. And next one, operating modes. So the operating modes are like synchronous and asynchronous. It will fall under the two categories. So the peripherals will be asynchronous and the CPU will be an synchronous. So the synchronous and asynchronous will be placed based on the clock speed. Suppose if you are making use of the clock, then we can call it as a synchronous. If you are not making use of any clock and directly you are sending, that is an asynchronous data transmission. So the synchronous and asynchronous data transmissions, both techniques you will have in the operating modes. So the peripherals are making use of asynchronous data transmission, and the CPU or the memory is making use of the synchronous data transmission. Okay. Yeah. So can you raise your hands? How many are there? Are you following? Just raise your hands. Your mic is not working, right? Few people. Raise your hands. Are you following? Yeah, that's good. Anudeep, Dhruvateja, yes. Others also respond. Yeah. Rule number 18. Yeah, 50 and 56, 90. Are you there? Yeah. So you're following, right? So that's good. And so move on to the next one. So here, this is about the interfaces, and now we are exactly seeing bus, IO bus. The concept is called IO bus. You can make a note of it. Input output bus. So along with an interface. So the interface, I'll in a 5 minutes, so you'll know the complete information about the interface, what it is actually, and what we are going to do with that interface. So, but first of all, you try to understand this concept. So there, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So memory and the CPU, right? Diagram is
Yes,
there
sir.
on my screen. Yeah. So another one hand you are having the CPU and another hand you are having the memory. So the concept we are calling it as an input output bus. So when we are talking about the bus will have the system bus. Actually, it is a system bus. The system bus is responsible for taking three types of the data: data bus, address bus, control bus. So the data bus is responsible for sending the data, and the address bus is responsible for sending the memory address, and the control bus is responsible for issuing the control signals. For example, read, write, and fetch, decode. So different kind of the signals where it will issue the control signal. So these are the three types of the buses. All together we are calling it as an system bus. All together we are calling it as an system bus. So this system bus is responsible for taking data from the user and address from the memory and decides the type of operation what the user is performing, whether he is reading the data or writing the data. So for that purpose, the system cannot understand it directly. As I said you previously, it will not understand. Why? Because it is a electronic device. It will understand electronic signals. So, but the device which we are using for giving the input or taking the output are electromechanical signals. So that will not be understandable by the processor and vice versa. So there is a need of extra circuitry that we are calling it as an interface. So the interface will be connected to these three buses, and this interface will be connected to the device which you are using. Either you are using monitor or keyboard or hard disk. So that's the reason we are making use of the various cables when we are connecting the devices. So do you have any idea about the FRC cables, flat ribbon cables? So flat ribbon cables. So let me show you that as well. So FRC. Like this, where you can find this kind of things. Where you can find? Yeah. So there is an communication channel, so which is used for connecting the various kind of the devices. So this kind of the cables we are calling it as an flat ribbon cables. so which are possible for connecting the devices. Okay, so various devices will connect. So this communication path will act as an interface. So by this communication path, all the devices will communicate with the help of the microprocessor. So this is an IO bus and very important topic, and you need to draw this diagram and you need to explain so about the IO bus. So there are three buses are there: address, data, control. First of all, you need to explain that, and next CPU will take control over these three buses, and the CPU will get the memory information from the memory devices. And the monitor, keyboard and hard disk is connected to the CPU and the memory with the help of an interface. Okay, so you need to explain each and everything in detail. So about the input output bus organization. So the nature of peripheral device, you know already about this, no need of discussing much about this. So the nature of CPU is an electronic. There is a lot of difference in the mode of operation of both peripheral and the CPU. And there is also a synchronization mechanism because the data transfer rate of peripheral device is slow comparatively CPU. And in the peripheral device, data code and formatters differ from the format of the CPU. Peripheral is having byte format and CPU is having the word format. And same, so synchronous and asynchronous data transmission, if you are talking about the peripheral, asynchronous, and if you are talking about the CPU, it is taking the synchronous data. So fine. And what are the functions of input-output interface? The major responsibilities are the functions of input-output interface are, it is used to synchronize the operating speed. So operating speed synchronization with respect to the CPU and the IO devices. And the next one, input output device, which is appropriate for the interpretation of the input output devices. Selects which type of device we should use. And it is capable of providing signals like control and timing signals. Control signals are like reading, writing, fetching, decoding. So these are the control signals. And timing signals when we need to initiate the operation and when we need to stop the operation. Okay, and in this, data buffering can also be possible. Means stack all the data at one place, and that one place we are calling it as a buffer. So the data buffering is also possible in the case of the input output devices interfaces. Okay, and it converts serial data into parallel data and parallel data to serial data. Interface will convert the, like in the similar way I explained analog to digital and digital to analog. In the similar way, the serial data will be converted, so which is coming from the keyboard serial data, that will be converted into the parallel data, and the parallel data will come from the CPU. So, and it converts the digital data into analog signal and analog signal to the digital signal. So these are the major functionalities of the input-output interface. Okay, those are the major functionalities of an input-output interface. So it is very much and essentially required when we are talking about the input-output interfaces and the peripheral device which we are using with respect to the CPU. Okay, so that's it. That's about the IO system bus and the input-output interfaces which we are going to use in the real life when we are accessing the data from the computer and when you are going to give the data to the computer. Fine.